The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of Jefferson Elementary School, casting long shadows across the polished hallway floors. 8-year-old Tommy Martinez clutched his brown paper lunch bag close to his chest as he walked toward his third-grade classroom. Inside the bag, carefully wrapped in aluminum foil, was his favorite sandwich, peanut butter and strawberry jam on soft white bread, made with love by his grandmother that morning. Tommy had always been a quiet boy with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He noticed things that other children often missed. Like how the new student, David Chen, sat alone at lunch every day with just a small apple and a carton of milk from the school's free lunch program. While other kids laughed and shared stories around crowded tables, David would eat his meager meal in silence, his eyes fixed on the pages of a worn library book. It was a Tuesday in October when Tommy first approached David's table. The cafeteria buzzed with the usual chatter of children, the clatter of plastic trays, and the occasional laugh that echoed off the walls. Tommy set his lunch bag down across from David, who looked up with surprise. "Mind if I sit here?" Tommy asked, already pulling out his chair. David nodded slowly, closing his book and placing it beside his apple. "I'm David," he said quietly. "I'm Tommy. I like your book. Is it good?" David's face lit up slightly. "It's about dragons and brave knights. I've read it 3 times already." Tommy unwrapped his sandwich and noticed David's eyes linger on it for just a moment before looking away. Without hesitation, Tommy tore his sandwich in half and placed one piece on a napkin in front of David. "I'm not that hungry today," Tommy said, though his stomach grumbled softly. "Want to share?" David's eyes widened. "Are you sure? I don't want to take your lunch." "It's okay. My grandma always makes them too big anyway." From that day forward, Tommy and David became inseparable friends. Every lunch period found them at the same corner table, sharing Tommy's sandwich and talking about books, baseball cards, and their dreams for the future. Tommy learned that David's family had recently moved to town after his father lost his job. Money was tight, and David often went to bed hungry, though he never complained. The years passed like pages turning in one of David's beloved books. The two boys grew taller, their voices deepened, and their friendship only grew stronger. They helped each other through difficult math tests, celebrated victories on the school soccer team, and supported each other through the awkward years of middle school and high school. After graduation, life pulled them in different directions. Tommy stayed in their hometown, working at his uncle's auto repair shop while attending community college at night. David earned a scholarship to study medicine at a university 3 states away. They kept in touch through letters and occasional phone calls, but the demands of their separate lives gradually created distance between them. 20 years passed before they would see each other again. Dr. David Chen had become everything he had dreamed of as a young boy reading about heroes in library books. He was now a respected cardiologist at Metropolitan General Hospital, known for his skill in performing complex heart surgeries. His life was filled with purpose, saving lives and helping families through their darkest moments. On a rainy Thursday evening in November, David was finishing his rounds when the emergency room doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in, wheeling a patient on a gurney. The man was conscious but pale, his breathing labored, his hand pressed against his chest. 42-year-old male, chest pains, possible heart attack, the paramedic called out as they transferred the patient to the emergency room bed. David hurried over to assess the situation, pulling on his latex gloves and reaching for his stethoscope. As he leaned over the patient to listen to his heart, something familiar caught his eye. Despite the years that had changed his face, despite the worry lines and the stubble, David recognized those same kind eyes that had welcomed him to a lunch table so many years ago. "Tommy," David whispered, his professional composure faltering for just a moment. Tommy's eyes focused with difficulty, but when he saw David's face, a weak smile crossed his lips. "David, is that really you?" "Don't talk right now," David said, his voice both gentle and urgent. "We need to get you stabilized. You're going to be okay." The next several hours blurred together in a series of tests, consultations, and careful monitoring. Tommy had suffered a massive heart attack, and his condition was critical. David worked alongside the emergency team, but as Tommy's condition worsened, it became clear that immediate surgery was necessary. "I'll perform the operation myself," David told the head of surgery, his hands already steady despite the emotional weight of the moment. In the operating room, surrounded by the quiet hum of machines and the focused energy of the surgical team, David worked with the precision and skill that had made him one of the hospital's finest surgeons. But this was different. This wasn't just another patient, this was Tommy, the boy who had shared his lunch when David had nothing, who had offered friendship without expecting anything in return. Hour after hour, David carefully repaired the damaged arteries around Tommy's heart. His steady hands moved with practiced grace, guided by years of training but fueled by something deeper, gratitude for a friendship that had shaped the course of his entire life. As dawn broke over the city, David finally stepped out of the operating room, exhaustion weighing heavily on his shoulders. He found Tommy's wife Sarah in the waiting room, her eyes red from crying, her hands clasped tightly together. "The surgery was successful," David said, sitting down beside her. "Tommy is going to make a full recovery." Sarah's relief poured out in tears of joy. "Thank you, doctor. Thank you for saving him." David nodded, thinking about the strange circle that life sometimes draws around us. "He saved me first," he said quietly, more to himself than to her. When Tommy finally woke up 2 days later, David was sitting beside his hospital bed, just as he had sat beside him at that lunch table all those years ago. "You know," Tommy said, his voice still weak but his smile as warm as ever, "I always knew you'd become something special." David reached over and squeezed his old friend's hand. "I never forgot what you taught me, Tommy. About kindness. About sharing what we have, even when it doesn't seem like much." "It was just a sandwich," Tommy said with a laugh that quickly turned into a cough. "No," David replied, his eyes bright with unshed tears. "It was everything." Outside the hospital window, the autumn sun was setting, casting the same golden light that had filled their elementary school hallway so many years before. Two friends, connected across time by one simple act of kindness, had found their way back to each other when it mattered most.